I request each and everyone to please keep your mic muted unless speaking. For your information, we will be recording the webinar. We have several speakers in the webinar today, and allocated time for each speaker is 20 to 25 minutes, which will be followed up with the question and answer session, which is for 15 minutes at the end of the webinar. If you have any questions, you are requested to put it in the question and answer window. Once again, I repeat, please put your questions in the question and answer window instead of chat box. Mention your name, organization, and the speaker's name also. To whom do you want to ask the question? If you have any questions and if you want to speak out anything, then please raise your hand. We will unmute you and you can ask a question. We will be posting the biographies and links to the resources in the chat window, so please have a look on that.
Presenter mode में दिख रहा है वो next slide.
So I will also take it quickly through the registration statistics. We got a very overwhelming response for the webinar. We have received 900 plus registrations for today's webinar, which are from 61 countries all around the world and 381 cities. If I further break down the registration statistics, we have approximately 65% of 65% of male candidates, followed by 35% of female candidates. And the majority of the participants, registrants' background is from the engineering background, and followed by the academicians. And various types of organizations, diverse organizations, we are having the registrations. So mostly are from the academic institutions, followed by the private organizations and government departments. And equally, we have the participation from the NGO civil society. So with that, now I will stop sharing. I will stop sharing my screen, and I would like to welcome our senior academic director, Dr. Suresh Kumar Rohila, who is going to take it forward and moderate the whole session. So it's over to you, sir. Thank you.
Very warm welcome, and thank you, Sumita, for introducing me, and very warm welcome to all the speakers. Just Sumita, can you confirm my screen is visible to all and I'm audible?
Yes, sir, it is visible and you are audible.
So good. So I would like to take this opportunity to welcome Ashok Kumar Singh ji, who is the Executive Director Projects for National Mission Clean Ganga. The eminent invited guest speakers, Professor Ravindra Kaur, Principal Scientist IARI, and we have Ellie Cohen from Ayla Waters and Ecology, founder of and CEO of Ayla Water and Ecology from Israel. So thank you for joining, and all the participants from different parts of the world and different parts of India, and the training participant. We're running this as a part of a training also. There are 150 government officials registered for the training also. I welcome you all. And today the webinar agenda is that I will take 5 minutes for a small context setting. That will be followed by address by Sri Ashok Kumar Singh ji. Then we will have Professor Ravindra Kaur, and after that Ellie Cohen. And then we will invite Vijay Kumar Chaurasya ji, who is also who has agreed to join as a discussant. And thank you, Vijay Chaurasya ji, for joining. Vijay Chaurasya ji is a joint advisor in Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs, and we see this a very important area of cross-cutting work where convergence between river pollution abatement and urban sanitation can happen. So that's why we are trying to introduce this as an important webinar where two ministries come together. But before that, I would like to present this recent findings of the CPCB report, Central Pollution Control Board report, which has shown a very, I would say, a very alarming situation in terms of sewage treatment in India. It says that, around 72,000 million liters of sewage is getting generated, of which only 30% gets treated. And of the total treatment capacity, Delhi and Mumbai, big two cities alone, have around 40% of the capacity. And we have around 8,000 urban centers. So the result is that because of the huge quantities of sewage which is being untreated, disposed of in land and water environment. Pollution is a common phenomenon. CSC has been researching in this area of water and sanitation over 3 decades, and we have done, understanding of water and sanitation in the book which was published 7 years ago, Excreta Matters, and we found that there is a conventional way that you try to bring water into the city, you store, divert, pump, and treat water, and we go further away and away as a village becomes town and town becomes city. For the sewage also, we have a same practice that we try to pump, divert, treat, and we try to dump the sewage outside the city. This is the current paradigm largely. However, in the last few years, we have seen that there are a lot of good practices which are happening. We will talk in this webinar about that. But however, the conventional paradigm is that supply more water, augment more water, which results in more wastewater getting generated, and wastewater treatment needs more resources. And this is becoming an unsustainable proposal.
High level eco.
Today, the focus is Ganga Basin, and we are doing this as a part of a project with National Mission Clean Ganga, where we have 2,000 plus statutory towns. Urban built-up area has increased extensively, and we have river flow drying up at some places. Ponds and lakes are deteriorating, and there is an inadequate sewage treatment, including conveyance and reuse of treated wastewater. On the other side, there is also that various programs, the urban programs and water ministry programs are in operation. There are 97 priority towns of National Mission Clean Ganga, but there are also some priority towns of Ministry of Urban Development, which is called 500 Amrut cities and 100 smart cities. So these still leave around 7,400 more urban centers, which are covered under Swachh Bharat Mission. So there is also some common things that there are out of 118 NMCG priority towns, 52 are Amrut cities and smart cities. So we can see there is a convergence agenda. We have developed over last few years case studies, which we have documented in web compendium, that how you can decentralized way, treat the sewage and use it for local purpose. So we have documented these case studies. We have identified today's speakers whose case studies are documented in this web compendium called Mount, Menu for Unnetworked Technology. So we are very excited. And this proposal, what we are putting together is we are working with NMCGs that to make Ganga Basin cities water sensitive, and across India to cities to be made water sensitive. This involves components like protecting water bodies, rejuvenation of water bodies, stormwater management, water conservation at different scales, rainwater harvesting. But one more component is there, that not every demand can be met through stormwater harvesting because we are a monsoon country. We also will be consuming a lot of water, and every day we'll be also generating sewage. So this concept includes decentralized wastewater management. So we have done webinars on all other topics, but today's focus is on decentralized wastewater management. So this decentralized wastewater management can be done at various sub-district level, sector level, and neighborhood levels. This is a conceptual drawing of that. And in the program which we have initiated with National Mission Clean Ganga, aim is that we would have around 1,300 plus municipal functionaries who are involved in various national flagship programs like Amrut, Smart Cities, Swachh Bharat Mission, and Namami Gange. And we would try to bring convergence of the efforts for improving river health and the flow. We would have range of activities, and the current webinar is also part of that activity. And I think this was a small context setting which I wanted to do before inviting Ashok Kumar Singh. Sir, we have done webinars on all other topics, but today's topic is very important, that after a lot of research, we found there is an interest on decentralized wastewater treatment and local reuse. Several state governments have indicated that these projects should be promoted and taken forward, but there is a need for innovation in policy and innovation in practice. So we want to hear from you, guidance and inaugural address. We have at the moment 300 people and still more people joining. And the program is being live streamed across the world on social media platforms. So we are hoping that a couple of thousand people are listening. So, sir, I invite you for inaugural address. Ashok Kumar Singh.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh Vahila, for organizing this webinar on an important and relevant topic of decentralized nature-based water treatment solutions. I would also like to thank other eminent experts, speakers for the day, Ravinder Kaur, Principal Scientist, IARI, and Ellie Cohen, Founder and CEO, Isla Waters Ecology, and my colleague from CPHO, Deputy Advisor, Shri B.K. Chaurasia. Now, you have basically raised a very relevant and very important topic, which I feel that must have been raised at the right time. Whatever I'll be speaking from my experience of this Namami Gange. And Namami Gange jurisdiction or the mandate is basically the Ganga basin, which includes the 5 Ganga mainstem states and 6 states from where we get the water in Ganga. So total we have 11 states. Now, the most important thing which we found that the STPs which were constructed since 1985 under under National Ganga Plan or otherwise, they were mostly non-functional or not meeting the KPIs. So basically, it was discovered that the water was not getting clean, and we did this condition and condition assessment of all the STPs, and we discovered this fact. And therefore, this whole Namami Gange has been working on a different innovation and different strategy. The first strategy was that we decided that we will give 15 years of operation and maintenance along with the STP construction cost, because the most of the municipalities who are the owner of the sewage treatment plant don't have a money. Second innovation which we did was we found that instead of investing all the money at the first instance, let us attract some private investment also. And we basically then decided on the HAM model, that is a hybrid annuity model, wherein the capex 40% the government gives and 60% the capex is brought in by the concessionaire, and this money is returned along with the O&M in the next 15 years. And therefore, we have started now paying for the performance, not only for the construction. So this is this I am sharing just to tell you that what was the wrong with this sector. Now, now this is on the Namami Gange side. Let us come to the fact or the important issue which we are discussing today. That is a decentralized way of treating this sewage water. As you rightly pointed out, that 72,000 million liters of the sewage waste is generated daily, and only 30% is treated. So that means near about the 50,000 million liters of the waste is still to be treated. Now, if we assume that if we just put up the STP, we require near about 1 crore per MLD. So that requires a 50,000 crores of money. And if we add the network part, then probably the cost doubles, and we require near about 1 lakh crore or 1,50,000 crores of investment to treat our sewage treatment, sewage water. So this is a huge challenge from any standard, and therefore this idea of having the bigger STPs only will not work. And we have to basically think for a decentralized way of treating this sewage water. Second important thing is that our rivers and water bodies are not only polluted by the bigger cities, but they also have a contribution from the villages. Like on the Ganga mainstem, we have 97 main towns and near about 5,000 villages. Some of the villages have a population of more than even 20,000. So basically, it's not practical to have STPs in the villages. So definitely there is a case for having a decentralized way of treating the sewages in these villages. And third data, which is again I'm getting from the CSE survey book, which came on the sanitation in the Ganga states, whereby this 85% household, whether it's a class 1 city, class 2 city, or class 3 city, they rely on the septic tanks. And some of the septic tanks have a life of more than 50 years. And some of the septic tanks even need to be emptied only after 40 or 50 years. So this shows that there is already a method of, or already there is a way of treating our sewage. Though the end product is a very toxic and it needs to be taken care with lot of care. But the point is that still 85% of the public is still outside our network, and as you rightly pointed out, only 30% people sewage gets treated. And if we look at the network, then that this number gets further down. So definitely we need to frame our policies depending upon our challenges, and therefore till we have a sewer network, we need to promote decentralized technologies to take care of our septic tank way of managing our sewages. So this is on the side of side of the data which is with us. Second important thing is that why decentralized treatment? If we look at the 73rd and 74th Amendment Act, that is the Panchayati Raj Act and the local self-government. And if you look at the sanitation and the water and the wastewater, it's actually the local body subject. So definitely, so therefore, from the constitution side also, we are mandated to promote the decentralized way of treating the technology, treating the wastewater, and promote them. And we all know about the various technologies which are available in the field of decentralized treatment. So therefore, I'll not go into those treatment technologies, and probably Ravindra Kumar Madam and Eli Cohen, they will be covering it, and VK Chaurasia ji will be also covering it. I limit it to myself to now the third part, which is about the treated water reuse. Now, this is nothing but a circular economy. The water which comes as a potable need or for the other purposes. The treated water, if it is reused, then it adds to the circular economy of the water. And that is a call of the day, and that is the need of the hour. And there are few issues which are important in this treated wastewater reuse. That is the first and foremost is the policy framework. And this is the gap which has been felt at the government level, and government is in the process of framing, having a framework under which the treated water reuse can be managed. And the few of the challenges which we are basically, which we have discovered, and basically we want to address it, is the first is the about the pricing of the water. What should be the pricing? Then the second is about the uses, what kind of a uses we should have. And third is basically the business models. What are the kind of business models through which this can be promoted? And the fourth one is obviously the incentivizing or the handholding which needs to be done. So with this, I would like to close my keynote address, and I'm sure that the rest speakers of the sessions will be discussing on the various other aspects of the decentralized wastewater treatment. And I'm ready to take up the questions which are coming up, and for the format. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ashokji, for the inspiring and address, as well as sharing with us that how Namami Gange is also opening up to alternative paradigm that decentralized wastewater management also is required to achieve the full Aviral and Nirmal Ganga. So that is one I would say. We are all geared towards a common goal and vision. And may I now take opportunity to invite Ravindra Kaurji, Professor Ravindra Kaur from Indian Agriculture Research Institute. And all the participants are requested to keep an eye on the chat box to see more details about Professor Ravindra Kaur, where the bio CVs will be posted. So Ravindra Kaurji, if you can take 25-30 minutes to go ahead with your presentation.
Sure. Thank you so much, first of all, for giving me this opportunity to Just a second, there is some issue with the presentation. Yeah. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share the Jalapja technology, which is a trademark registered technology developed at Indian Agricultural Research Institute's Water Technology Center. And as you can see, the technology has been labeled as an eco-friendly wastewater treatment technology and very well fits in nature-based solutions for treating wastewaters. But before I go ahead, I would first of all like to pay my regards to Shri Ashok Kumar Singh ji, to Jalapja ji, and to the rest of the panelists and the attendees for sparing their time to listen to this, technology. And now, without losing any more time, let me first of all very quickly take you through. So these are the normal statistics which we normally speak at various fora. See, you know that water is the most important national challenge as of now, and also in near future would be water, because water is an essential element for our survival and is also an important vehicle for any sort of an economic development. If we talk about the food industry, it has been estimated that we need to increase the food production by about 50% in around by about 2025. And in order to do that, uh, it has also been estimated that there is going to be an increased water demand by a proportionate amount. But if you look at the water availability status, that is expected to decrease by much more proportion, that is by, say, roughly 78% in the same time frame. So we are actually practically entering into a very, very critical situation. Rather, we have already entered into that. And if you look at the water utilization, everybody knows that agri sector is the largest user of the water. About 80 to 90% globally, the water is used in the agri sector, and the rest, about 50% is divided, that is 10% or 5 to 8% somewhere in the household sector, and the rest in the industrial and the energy sector. So so in this view, if we look at the latest World Water Assessment Programs report, which is a very recent report brought out by UNESCO 2017, it clearly says that about 80% of the wastewater globally is returned back to the ecosystem without proper treatment or reuse. So it's not the scenario only in our country that we are not able to treat the entire wastewater stream in spite of having so many wastewater treatment facilities. Globally, the scenario is more or less close to the same value. But if it's talk just about the Indian scenario, since we are hosting this webinar under Indian conditions, and if you look at the total wastewater generation in say of only sewage under Indian conditions, as Rohila ji also mentioned, now my statistics is of 2015, but the latest statistics say 72 BLD. So 62 BLD between 2015 to 21 has already become increased by 10 more BLDs. So it is 72 BLDs of the sewage with an additional proportionate, that is 13.5 BLD of the industrial effluents. So it's a huge wastewater stream which can easily be put to particularly use in the agri sector if properly treated. And there are estimates that if you treat the stream and put it back into the agri sector, it has the potential to irrigate about 3 million hectares of the agricultural lands. So that's a modest estimate which has been brought out by various researchers. So I'll not indulge into how much is the stream and how much is treated, since the stage is already set by Rohila ji. But I would again like to reinforce the statement and the mandate put up through the Sustainable Development Goal number 6 by the United Nations, which clearly mandates all of us to reduce the percentage of the untreated wastewater by half, and that half was by 2020, and we have already crossed 2020. We are already in 2021, and we haven't even been able to achieve that half, while considerably expanding and promoting its recycling and safe reuse. But at least the good sign is that we have at least started thinking about it and started becoming conscious about it. And we have started realizing that recycle and reuse of treated wastewaters is going to be a viable option in the future. We all know about the pros and cons of the conventional wastewater treatment methods. I'll be very quick. I won't enter into the different methodologies. So these are commonly, as you can see in the picture, these methods are commonly used in the urban setups. And we all know that they have very high energy demand, very high consumable demand, because many of them, they require certain sorts of precipitants, that is chemicals, and they require 24/7 aerators. They require highly skilled manpower to operate them, because if you put the chemical in a wrong pH window, then the chemical, instead of removing the pollutant, will itself become a pollutant and precipitate down and rather add to more pollution in the water to be treated. Now, because these technologies, which are generally being used conventionally under urban setups, they are high on energy, high on consumable demand, high on skilled manpower demand. Obviously, they're very costly. So though they are able to treat water to a large extent, may not be to full extent, but to large extent, depending upon the pollutant to be treated and the technology adopted, they are also coupled with the generation of a huge amount of hazardous sludge, because any aerobic technology leads to a lot of hazardous sludge generation. So we treat the water, but we do have a mountain load of sludge on the other hand. So we get rid of one problem, but create another. And gone are the days when these sludges used to be a source of fertilizer to the agri fields, because nowadays these sludges have got a number of emerging contaminants. They're full of pathogens, they are full of heavy metals, so you just cannot dispose them of in any agricultural field. And wherever these are being disposed of, the cases of cancer and various other, gastrointestinal nervous diseases are wide and clear. So I haven't included that slide in order to take care of the time. So in a nutshell, though we have the technology in place, but the technology stands out as highly, highly unsustainable because of these reasons. Now, if let's change our focus from the urban setup to the peri-urban or to rural areas or small towns, as Mr. Ashok Kumarji very nicely elaborated in his opening statements, that septic tanks are already there in the rural setup. So we do have a technology which can take care of the wastewaters. But if you look at this matrix table, which I've just a single slide which I've prepared. Now, there are broadly only two types of wastewater treatment technologies widely available in the rural and the peri-urban setups in our country. These can be broadly classified as household systems and the cluster-based systems, which are capable of serving multiple properties. Now, this particular slide is showing various technologies at a household level. And you can see on the first column, these comprise of septic tanks, anaerobic baffled reactors, soak pits, leach pits, magic pits, and then some high-ended innovated counterparts of septic tanks, which are integrated with the anaerobic baffled reactors, comprising of some, say, either natural or synthetic filters. Again, these filters can be upflow or downflow, and various variants are there, so I'll not indulge into the technical part. All what I want to say is that if you look at the performance efficiency of these systems, I hope I'm audible.
You're audible, Ravindra
Yes,
Kaurji.
okay.
Please go ahead.
So if you look at the performance efficiency, so look at the three columns which I have made. These are performance efficiency, cost, and certain remarks. So these three rest of the columns will help you in cross comparing between all these technologies. If you look at the first, that is performance efficiency, the septic tanks, anaerobic baffle reactors, soak pits, leach pits, etc., can only get rid of BOD and total suspended sediments. Only these two pollutants, and that too also not to a very remarkable extent. BOD only up to 50% and TSS only up to 70%. So the pollutants still remain there. If you look at the last one, that is septic tank integrated with anaerobic filter-based reactor variants, that technology, besides taking care of BOD and TSS, can also to some extent remove pathogens, but only up to 70 to 80%. Now, as these systems get older and older, they fall prey to a number of operational and maintenance, issues. One is that these technologies often lead to groundwater contamination. Secondly, their pollutant reduction efficiency $500 to as high as 80,000 per kiloliter with anaerobic baffled reactor, and it's ABF does anaerobic maintenance cost much, and also high land area demand. So since there is paucity of time, I will the slide is there with everybody. You can just browse through. So having all these constraints in mind, we at IRE, we developed the Jalapja technology, and this is a panoramic view of one of the facilities at IRE. As you can see, the whole treatment process is based on plant native micromedia interaction. In this particular technology, we make use of certain hyperaccumulators, and we don't put any bacteria from outside. We don't have to purchase them from outside. We just re-engineer the environmental conditions so as to enable the bacteria and the other microorganisms which are already there in the sewage to do their job. And so whole process is plant micromedia interaction dependent. And you can see here what is the state of the water. If we start from sewage well, and then these are the three treatment cells here, and this is the quality of the treated water. I'll expand more. The facility which you are seeing is capable of treating about 2.2 million liters of water on daily basis, and the treated waters are being used for irrigation in the IARA experimental farms. These are some of the assets connected with the Jalapja technology. If you look at the performance efficiency, we have been monitoring the system since 2011-12 when it was established till date, till 2021. And what we have observed is that it is capable of removing turbidity by 90 to 99%, pathogen load by 5 log reduction, that is 99.8 to 99.9%, BOD from 78 to 88%. These are all long-term averages. But if you at times these values go as high as 92, 93, 94% also. Metals, depending upon their concentration levels and type, 57 to 100%, nitrate phosphates from 30 to 57%. So as a result, the water which we get is metal and pathogen free, and therefore the irrigation water being pathogen and metal free, our produce is also metal and pathogen free. So basically, it has a great, potential in generating good economic value for the land being utilized. CapEx is about 5,500 to 6,500 per KL, and O&M ranges from about rupees 200 to 250 per KL. So I'll not indulge into rest of the things. Maybe I'll cover all those things during question answering session. And besides treating all these different contaminants which I just illustrated, The technology is also capable to get rid of the pHs, PCBs, surfactants, and you can see there are two designs which we have developed, horizontal and the vertical design. Vertical design fits well in the areas where land is a constraint, and horizontal where the land is not a constraint. If I try to compare the two designs, horizontal designs seem to be performing much better than the vertical ones, but vertical ones can also be case designed as per the site specific conditions to perform as well as horizontal. So we did some ecological footprint and sustainability investigation of the implemented solution, that is the Jalapja technology vis-a-vis the conventional technology, and we found that this Jalapja technology exerts 33 times lesser stress on the environment, and that it is about 1,500 times more sustainable. And all that was adjudged in terms of a number of emerging indices, which I don't have time to explain to all of you. So please, I will be just conveying the message.
Very interesting.
Yeah, if you look at the food production impacts, that is, what is the impact on the soil health, what is the impact on the crop health, productivity, all that we have done. In this particular slide, I've just tried to put the yield and the metal status of the produce, which is generated from such treated waters vis-a-vis the sewage waters, vis-a-vis the normal groundwaters. So there is a normal belief that even the farmers feel ki ganda pani, if we put in the agricultural fields, we get higher yield. And same thing we also observed. We found that the sewage water was definitely associated every time. Since last 10 years we have been doing, for first 5 years we had paddy wheat crop rotation. For the next 5 years, a number of around the year, vegetable production, because mostly in such waters, the farmers prefer to grow high value, low volume crops like vegetables. So you can see okra, cabbage, baby corn, lettuce, brinjal, broccoli, green onion. So invariably over all these years, we found that sewage gives more yield than the groundwater and the treated water, but the treated water could give yields in between the ground and the sewage waters. So there was about 1 to 12% yield gain with even the treated waters over the groundwaters. But if you look at the metal contamination and pathogen load, the treated waters as compared to the sewage waters were observed to be having about 13 to 36% less metal contamination and 68 to 73% less pathogen load. Now, this was when we were growing these crops on historically sewage irrigated plots. Had we applied these waters on the virgin soils, which were historically not being irrigated by the sewage waters, the metal contamination load would have been further more reduced. We also try to practice aquaculture on our treated waters. This is a treated water collection tank of our facility, of which I gave you a panoramic view. And in this facility, treated waters, we grew pungus fish. It is a commercial grade fish. And we found that these waters, without any, additional or more, full feed incorporation. So we incorporated just less than 50% of the fish feed in these waters, and we got about 3.5 tons per hectare of the fish yield, which was far more than the national average of 2.5 tons per hectare. And this fish was pathogen free, was having 0 E. coli and none of the other pathogens. So it was consumer safe, even the food was consumer safe. There are other benefits associated with this Jalapja based wastewater treatment technology. One is that per se for treatment, it doesn't need any energy. So it is zero energy based treatment because we don't use anywhere 24/7 aerators. The plants themselves, they have got, hollow stems and arenchymatous leaves, and they are quite adroit and skilled at harnessing the local oxygen or the local, locally aerating their rhizospheric zone. I won't get into the science because then I'll lose the focus. And also we don't apply any chemical. We have never been, we have never faced any problem connected with the sludge. So it is a zero sludge problem. And rest of the things I have already mentioned in the previous slides. So we wanted to, in order to make this system even more sustainable, so that we don't have to go to the stakeholder and say, ye acha kaam hai, ye kijiye to ye hoga. So we don't have to say, so we integrated it with a good business models. One was to harvest these wetland vegetation. And in fact, we did a lot of R&D on what is the impact of harvesting on the pollution reduction efficiency of such systems. And we found that it rather improves the reduction efficiency further, gives a big boost. So there is a lot of R&D which we have done on each and every question. And so we started harvesting this every from once in 3 months and 4 months. And we found that it is capable of generating about 30 tons of dry biomass from 1.4 hectare size treatment facility, which can easily be transformed into the particle boards and the energy briquettes, thereby fetching an annual revenue of about 1.92 lakh through either of these two technologies. Transforming this biomass into briquettes is a much doable, practical, and easy technology. And we have a particle board, pellet making machine already installed at IARA. So you are all invited to come and see how this system works. So we also touched upon the circular economy and the business models as indicated very briefly by Mr. Ashok Kumarji in his opening remarks. So this technology was in 2014 recommended for national level adoption and implementation by the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Agriculture. This is the parliamentary committee visiting the project site. And it was also recommended for its extension to 420 plus Indian cities by the Ministry of Urban Development. And Charasia ji was in close contact with me from that department in past. However, our collaborations didn't materialize. I hope that after this presentation, we'll be able to, serve the nation better. And recently in 2020, ICR brought out a success story on this technology, which is available at the ICR website. The link is here. And it was formally inaugurated by the Minister of Agriculture. And the technology was also, incorporated or rather selected as a good practice example by UN Waters and as an innovation by in the Indian agriculture by the National Skills Foundation of India. It also managed to fetch the prestigious civilian award, that is Scotch Order of Merit, and we fetched a platinum award. In fact, this was rated as even higher than a space technology. It was very astonishing for all of us. So now a rocket-based technology being compared with wastewater treatment technology, and we getting the platinum award was very, very encouraging for all of us. And as regards its scalability and replicability, because often I have heard people saying that these nature-based technologies are very land demanding, and so this and that is a main logic being given not to apply them at wide and large scale. So we did an R&D on that also, and we tried to estimate what is the land area requirement of a conventional vis-a-vis this technology. Time doesn't permit me to go into all those statistics, but please, these details are available in the ebook, which is available at ICR website, the success story. And we found that it is either equal or rather less land demanding than the conventional wastewater treatment technologies. And rather it is of more value for land than the conventional technologies. Say, for example, if you go to a normal STP site, you won't be able to stand there. And that whole land catchment is just smelling with having foul smell, and is having lots of mosquitoes because of the open water surfaces, surface water bodies which are there for treatment. But please visit our site and you will find, I will have to tell you that this is a wastewater treatment site, and you will feel that it is an eco park. So
Can you summarize it?
This is the last one. This is the last one. So if you have such technologies on the either sides of a river body as the buffer zones, they can easily treat the wastewaters before it falls into the river. So, and it very well fits the title of today's webinar also. And also it is very, very cheap. I have one slide wherein I haven't put it here, wherein I've compared the technology in those terms also for the Ganga catchment. So if given a chance sometime, I'll be happy to share those statistics. And these are the various sites where it has been widely replicated. The technology is also being encouraged under the Swachhta Action Plan program of the Government of India. And right now we have established under this program at 5 sites, Haryana, then one in Kajari, Jodhpur, Jogner, Goa, Bengaluru. So they are all, one of them, Kajari, is already commissioned. And if anybody is interested, they can go and themselves see the results. Then we have a project site also, upcoming site in Kapurthala Rail Coach Factory. Another upcoming with a private player that is who deal with hydro printing, Maruti hydro printing at Keynote. So they are all nearing completion, but the ones in the picture have already been commissioned. And these are, 2 of them are running in Jawahar Navodaya Vidyalaya, one in Kansi Ramnagar in UP, and they're very happy with the results. And another one in Rasulpur village, Palwal. These are the 2 schools who have taken our technology. And then one more NGO, that is All India Women's Conference in Delhi, have also taken. Then another place is in Pandit Diyalopadhyay village, Mathura, UP, and a number of other sites. I couldn't put everything in one slide. So all what I wanted to say, if you look at these little texts which are given there, each of these facilities have different land demand, suiting the land availability available with the stakeholder, and different hydraulic retention times to suit their pollutant levels and to suit their reuse criteria. Some people want to just throw it in a water body, some want to recharge groundwater, some want to reuse for agriculture. So depending upon that, the different HRD and land area demand.
Ravindraji, will be able to share the presentation on the...
Yes, it's done.
Please.
So thank you very much for your kind patience. I
Thank
always
you,
have this, I always tend to extend my presentation. Sorry for that.
No problem, no worry. But I think very interesting presentation, and I have been to the site and I myself vouch for it that people should visit. Thank you very much for interesting presentation. We will come back to question answer session at the end, but I would request if you can keep an eye in the Q&A box, and if you can answer in writing to some of the questions in the meantime, because we may not be able to take all the questions.
Okay.
So there are questions in Q&A for you, Ravindraji.
Okay, I will do, but by the time I listen to Ellie,
Yes,
I will be answering separately. Thank you very much once
now is the time for me to invite, Ellie Cohen from Israel Ayla Technologies. And Ellie, you can take 25-30 minutes and share with us the experience of nature-based wastewater treatment. To you, sir.
Thank you, Suresh, for the invitation. It's a pleasure. And Samita for the great organization. Let me just find it and I'll, okay. Just a minute.
Full screen if you can make.
Okay, just put the full screen. Okay. I was asked to share a lot of experience in the last 30 plus years of intensive experience in this field of nature-based solutions and sustainability. I suppose just to give the courage to decision makers to go ahead with this new approach. I say new, although it's old like the world in a way. This is what nature do. We just do it in a more engineered way. I would also talk about decentralized solution and nature-based solution compared to the current technologies, current practices. And I'll try to do this in brief, although there is so much to say about it. And I will start with talking about the environmental challenges and goals. If you look at this sketch over here, you see that today people before me already mentioned that the amount of water being reused is actually negligible. People are talking about 20%. I think it's even less than that. But let's say that even if we dealing with we manage to reuse which is we need to double the amount of energy that we're putting into treatment. And this can be shown very well in this graph, where the carbon footprint against the treated sewage quality and the quantity. Today we're facing two main global one, of course, is to better sewage treatment, more water, more good water, which are actually disappearing. Let's move ahead. And this water, energy, and environment compete with each other, and like it's here, no one wins, and the results is shown everywhere. If people go out to the fields, you can see it. It's happening everywhere, and even in the heart of the big cities in India and other places in the world. And this triangle, or what used to be the triangle of the water, energy, food nexus, now we have this another partner, which is the climate, come in, and we have to take it into account. This connection between this nexus between water and energy is very dangerous, as we all know, and it will get worse and worse the more water we treat in the convention, in the common known practices. And just to, it's amazing number, but 35% of the energy production that we use in cities goes for water management in different ways, supply, treatment, etc., etc. So it's big numbers, and if we want to reverse climate change or at least stop it, we need to do something about this factor. And I would ask to talk about the decentralization against the centralization of the system. And just a few words of history about where it all started. Well, centralized system is not wasn't here since ever. Actually, it's only about 50, 60 years with us. It started in the US as like where most new technologies came from in the last century, and it's came in because after in the fast development in the world in the last 100 years, overconsumption, overuse of water, pumping of water from the aquifers and river and lakes. It caused a huge burden on the current facilities, the old type, the open lagoons, etc., and demand a solution. There was talks in the US in that time about nature-based solution. Things have been done, but then somehow something new came in the market. Was the activated sludge system, the technology-based one, and somebody came with an idea to centralized system. Send the water to one central place, and to do it in big scale and of energy, like people love to do in that time. Talked about 70s, 80s. People were opposing it in that time, so that it don't make any sense. But after a short time, because of the big money involved in it, it began to be the mainstream, and government adopted it, and it began to be the main thing. And it's amazing how it works after one decade or something like that. It became to be the only solution, and it spread out all over the world, and now we see it everywhere. And and of course, but the problem is not haven't been solved. It's just getting worse and worse. And this is just a brief about the history of this. Of course, there's much more about it, but let's go first. Let's go forward. And so the main approach, as I say, become to be the decentralized system, and of course, add to it the intensive STPs. And as I said, it didn't solve the problem. Just a minute. So we're asking if not centralized, so why not centralized? If just and it's we can see it over here in this one, because centralized need a lot of it's complex infrastructure. It's a high energy pumping operation. We can say it in this one. It's a very fragile. It's leakage from pipings which affecting the aquifer. We are not talking about colossal damage in case of earthquakes. The cost is amazing, but basically it's a huge, a lot of energy in the bottom line. And I'm talking about this nexus between water and energy. And just an interesting part about this. I was involved in this. We are based in Bangalore as well, and 4 years ago, this STP, one of many that was established for the Belandur Lake, was talking about 640 or 14 crores for a promotion of 2 STPs near the lake, around the lake, and out of these 600 crores. 80% was for the conveyance system, piping and pumping. And this is actually the relation in most of the systems. And if you do an on-site solution, a centralized, decentralized one, you don't need all these investments. And this is make the amazing difference. And of course, we're talking about piping and also talking about the final stage step, which is the STPs, which also demand a lot of maintenance and energy, and a lot of have been talked about and said about it before in the previous talk. And this is the way it can look. This is the way it can look and work. This is a small system, for example, in the heart of Tel Aviv. But it can, I'll show you in a minute, I'll show you examples of many others in different locations. And of course, when you talk about nature-based solutions, talk about stability. Nature-based solution is a system that can work by itself. And it's important. This system attend to human maintenance, produce no byproduct, and can live theoretically forever if it's built the right way. And this system, and more than that, this system harvests. It's not only creating carbon or producing carbon, they also harvest carbon from the air. And we can see it over here in this graph. You see that it's shown that it's not a positive, it's a negative. You can call it a different way, but we actually reducing carbon from the air, and we actually rebalancing what we managed to destroy in the last 100 years. In the last 100 years, we use more energy and we destroy more green cover. By using the nature-based solution, we adding the nature, the nature and green to our life, and we reducing the use of energy. And this is this nexus between the NBS, nature-based solution, and the carbon is very, very crucial to when decision makers take the decision. I believe so. And of course, I'm not talking about the operation, byproducts, and the quality of water in the outlet, and you name it. And so change is the needed for sure, and the decentralized nature-based solution is the change that we're looking for. And it's like I was saying before, it's gravity, it's solar, it's plant, it's aggregates, it's microbes. It's all together working and producing from this sewage nala through this system, in this example, a very high quality water, and that protect the surrounding. And I won't get too much about how it's work. It's about gravity, as I said before. It's about plants. It's about root zones. It's about microorganisms. It's about many other sun energy, etc. But basically, this one say everything. This root zone, actually, and the gravity is actually equal to all what you see over here. It's amazing. You can't understand it, but this is actually what's happening. We're doing the physical, biological, and chemical filtration all at once. And this with zero energy, zero chemical, and actually the oxygen comes through by the plants themselves, and the output water is very, very high quality in all parameters. You have to keep it in all parameters. But there is more in the NBS technology that we developed. There is more. It's not only about water treatment. It's also about water harvesting on site. It's about harvesting and treatment and recharging the aquifer if we want, or sending it to the river. It's about preventing flood in upstream. We see it in a minute in one of the examples. It's about reducing carbon footprint. It's about air purification. And of course, beautification. It's a social system that live with the people, near the people. People love it, keep it, take care of it. It's actually introducing energy, nature back to life, which many people have forgotten. And this is the only way to actually, if you think about it, to actually reverse climate change. If you ever want to do something about it, this is the only way to do it. Going back, creating a new balance in the environment around us, and using the nature-based solution is the way forward. Just a few examples, numbers about the comparisons against the NBS, our system. You can see just at the bottom line the difference in cost, the capital, it's 70 against it, and this is a very old one. Today it should be higher. And this is a comparison of the O&M. Over here you can see the NBS compared to MBR, SBR, a smaller one, and on-site ones. Again, the difference in the operation cost is dramatically lower, and it's again it lasts much longer, and produce much higher quality water in the outlet. And we can see it over here very well, very nice. It's the gap in the capital might be not so big, but for the long run, the gap is huge between the conventional against the nature-based solution. And let's just see some case studies and just understand that it's actually doable. Many people don't believe that it can be done because we were taught and learned and that it's that only technology will play the role and do the work for us. But I mean, when I say technology, I mean man-made electromachinery, energy-based technology. And this is not the case. We are not against technology, just to understand. We like technology, but when we can avoid it, let's do that. And this is what we're doing. This is an example of something not from India. I'll later go to India, that we have designed a solution for the city of Nice in the Plaine du Var Valley. This is the Plaine du Var Valley. This is the city of Nice, going all the way from here to the Alps, 45 kilometers. And they were suffering from aquifer depletion and water quality reduction, sewage treatment that not functioning, air pollution, and aqua fauna and flora that was disappearing. And they were looking for a sustainable solution. And we gave them that. And actually they loved it and they accepted it. And we create this green belt and eco trail that was going along the valley and producing this green belt that actually treat the water on site, harvest it, prevent floods by holding the water upstream, recharging the aquifer, treating sewage as part of this park, and doing it all at one. I want to show you something that we have done work already 6 years in Hyderabad, India. This system was designed for 2 million, but today is working treating 5 million liters per day. It's based in the HGA, Hyderabad Golf Association golf course, and it's actually treating. It's over here. If somebody knows, this is and it's sitting on the banks of the Musi River, and And this Nala water, it's actually quite a bad water, taking water from neighborhoods upstream, mainly domestic, but not only. There is also dairy farms over there running there, and some industries, garages, etc. And the bottleneck is in the end of the day is you can see over here the water goes through the bypass, going through a system that treats them, and in the end of the day, what's coming out is a very, very high quality. You can see, and we took you can see the colors of the water before and after, and it's this is a picture that was taken about a few months ago, and people even play golf through the system. And it's but what more important, this is I think only golf course in India that have free water, high quality free water all year round, with minimal maintenance, just actually beautification and gardening. And it's also create a very powerful buffer zone on the Musi River. Just imagine that if when we do more like this along on the bank of the Musi River, of sewage running from the city into the river, we can change the face of this river. It's just a matter of decision, and the same thing can be done in the Ganga, which we were involved with years ago already. We offered it on the Ganga and in many places. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, but we can do it in the factories, cities, and villages, etc. We have designed something that connected to Ganga about 2 years ago for the DJB, Delhi Jal Board, on the Yamuna River, run to the Ganga. In this case, we designed a solution on the supplementary drain that treats water sewage coming out from all the north part of Delhi. And we designed a solution that, first of all, create a green park in the city that people can walk from the Ganga all the way up. The sewage that's running freely today will be treated all by gravity along the flow, and it hold rainwater, stormwater upstream, treat it and recharge the aquifer. By holding the water, it also reduce the chance of floods downstream, which is very common in this area. It's of course enlarge the green area in this urban desert today, and then change the face of the city complete. And this is if we will be able to implement these ones in more and more cities, that will be the change. And of course, and this one designed to treat 250 million liters per day. This is an 8-kilometer stretch, 250 million liters per day, and this is very conservative estimation. So and this is it should be tailored into the area, and we have done it. We've done the design, but it's need a change of state of mind to go ahead all the way with it. And of course, this is something that we have done on the Miti River, or design a system that actually being integrated into the slums, into the life, and you can actually drive on it, drive your auto on it, and still treat the sewage coming out from the nearby houses along the banks, and in different ways, and on the floodplains. And it's again all sustainable, all living by itself, and get better through the years. This is an example of
2-3 minutes if you can just summarize.
Okay, I'll not long. This is a neighborhood that all the water, all the sewage being treated as part of the landscape, and later on used for ornamental and then irrigation. Just a few examples of this is again the AGA, the Musi River watershed. You can see over here some examples and some results. A landfill that we have treated, and we are treating, and very hard water, and it's working for years. cosmetic plant, L'Oreal cosmetic plant, very hard water to treat. We being treated for 5 years already, very high quality. We saving them a lot of money. Textile in Vapi, Gujarat, India, very high quality water in the outlet. Power stations working for 6 years. Rivers, this is river in Israel working for 20 years. These days we're doing another river, bigger river. We treat over there 25 million liters per day, very hard sewage with high fluctuations. But this is very important slide just before I'm finishing. This is about 15 years ago. The government of India asked the IITs to write a report about the Ganga. Why all the money that was put, all the work that have been done didn't work out? And a great report was made. I think it was given on the 2010, and it's a very small reading. It's quite big, a lot of very wide, very big, but very small reading it. But look at the bottom line. After enormous failed, it's saying in order to reduce substantial expenses, decentralized treatment of sewage is advisable. They're actually advising very clearly a decentralized solution and goals minimize O&M with curing costs. They're talking about a nature-based solution, talking about decentralized. This is a recommendation after 5 years of investigation. So this is something that we have to take in mind. Just one word about ILI. ILI is a company of sustainability experts. We're doing this nature-based solution for more than 30 years. We're doing it all over the world. And we have a base in India. We have done a lot of projects over here. And we are really looking forward to make a change over here together with the people over here. And we believe that it's possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eli, for a very interesting presentation with a lot of case studies which have been working for over a decade also, or more than that decade also. And not only examples are there from India, but abroad also. I think I should also share with the audience here that, CSC has been treating its own sewage in the headquarters, as well as our training center. Similarly, in the Delhi Jal Board headquarters, we have implemented decentralized wastewater treatment plants. These are some working examples which clearly show that they have met all the regulatory conditions and they have been performing to, either better than the conventional technologies. But however, I will not say here whether either an or, but if there is a space for hybrid systems, that where it works, how it works. So Chaurasya ji, I think it is time for me to invite you, because I think you are leading the Swachh Bharat mission urban, where all small and big towns also have to take up the wastewater treatment as one of the important areas. So I thought it would be good to hear from you. Many people have demonstrated that 10 saal se kaam kar raha hai, over 10 years, regulatory measures are being met. So what is stopping us from that? So if you can.
Thank you, Dr. Mahila. I also at this occasion thank Ashok Kumar Singh sir, for Eli Cohen, because both presentations are very excellent, and I remember when I get that regarding this webinar, it strikes me that I should attend this webinar, because many of you may be aware, Swachh Bharat Mission and Amrit has been recently launched on this first half of October, and from last some 6 to 8 months we have been working on preparing guideline, roadmap, and strategy as to how to go about to treat wastewater that is able to our country also, affordable to people also, skill requirement is also not too high, and accordingly whatever assets are created that sustain also in long run. So keeping that thing, whenever we were trying to get some solutions under this Swachh Bharat Mission, especially Swachh Bharat Mission, I would like to mention that we are going to more than 3,900 small ULPs having population less than 1 lakh, less than 100,000 population. So these around 4,000 towns, they are not very big organized towns, but their wastewater is not properly managed, and often because of lack of awareness also and lack of finances and let us say policy and other support, in the past it could not be taken up with that force that should have been taken. So once ministry has put focus on water supply and solid waste in under Amrut and SBM 1, now under SBM 2, this wastewater has come as a very focused one. I would like to mention that jointly under Amrut mission and Swachh Bharat mission, around 2 lakh crore rupees are only dedicated for wastewater. That is more than $30 billion US dollar. That much thing is going to come within the next 5 years. So responsibility on us is very high in the moment that all ULBs, state and central government and all other agencies working in this field, jointly they should come out with solution that we could utilize this funding and create this infrastructure which solve this problem. So when we were working on the guidelines, we are getting a lot of suggestions and a lot of criticism also, because the moment it comes for wastewater treatment, people think that it is something ASP or some other big brand STPs, and then they tell that it will take a lot of time to construct, a lot of funds, and after that, often people bypass. There is no fund with ULB to operate that plant because of high cost of electricity. So such sort of criticism would have been there, and also how to collect that wastewater. I saw that 80% of the funds were being mentioned that in collection and laying sewer network and other it consumes. So there was also criticism that laying sewer system and other it takes considerable time. So such sort of things put people under a lot of misery because roads are cut open, and also after that repairing roads and other things takes a lot of time. So in a given framework of time, how these things will happen. So this has been a great challenge, but later on working on this, we have been trying to study that what are the scenario in other countries, what sort of approach they are following. So we could realize that in the past our more reliance had been on European countries and US, which are relatively older, and they often take more mechanized and sophisticated sort of system because of their climatic condition and because of their nature of development and waste. So, but unfortunately, in our case, it has been very easy for us to in the past follow that and try to implement, which in our country didn't work to that satisfactory level. As it was mentioned by our previous speakers that out of 72,000 MLD, even less than 30,000 MLD is being treated, and even out of that also a significant portion is not able to meet the designated standards, effluent standards. So in this situation, this challenge was very huge that what option we should find. So during studying, we could find out even in case of Brazil, I would like to mention, because we try to focus on rather than only in cold climate, which is just like subtropical to us, warm climate like us, and similar sort of development. So we could try to understand what in Brazil they are following, what in other southern American countries they are following. So Brazil ka one case I would like to mention that out of their total 2,800 plants they have set up, more than 96% plants are in less than 1 lakh population. There was criticism that smaller towns wastewater treatment plant cannot happen and it is not feasible, it is wastage of money. There we could find that 96% of plants are in less than 1 lakh, and even less than 20,000 population, 50% plants are there. And it was to our surprise that most of the plants are nature-based plants. How they are doing with simple application of mind, we know that in case of after household, we are having often septic tanks. Septic tank by 1 or 2 days, this retention period with anaerobic method almost 40 to 50% to waste potentially degrades, and only remaining has to be treated. So what they are doing, they are putting this technology in a combination like USP. They are putting after that 50 to 60% this pollution load is being degraded, and after that they are putting another extended aeration or oxidation pond or some other method. So like that, primarily based on nature-based system and avoiding these much mechanized and power-based systems, they are able to provide solution. They are able to provide treatment solution to their all ULBs. So it was very surprising to, very much amazing to take the sense that their latitude, longitude is similar to us, their climatic condition is similar to us. Then why not adapt from those sort of things which will be readily useful and implemented in smaller towns, and they are more of nature based. So then we also study also that nature-based systems are working a lot in many areas, but they are less documented, and they are not projected as bigger players are doing in case of these wastewater treatment plants. So we find that whatever these smaller plants are working, they should be documented, and taking learning from SPM1, I would like to mention there we have dealt with solid waste management. Where initially, just like sewage management, we were trying to have one compost plant on integrated basis, and it was based on total solid waste generation. When this waste was being brought, it was very difficult to process. There was no O&M cost available with them, and it was running at half of the capacity. This sort of problems were making them to not perform and failing. So under SPM1, we make as a testing bed, all will be joint hand, all states joint hand. They found a lot of solution there, even at household level composting is there, community level this composting is there, this material recovery facility nearby in neighborhood is there. Then only whatever is remaining, something is going to centralized plants, and like that they are able to manage. So similar approach, unless we adopt in case of wastewater also, the conventional approach that we are following, it is very difficult to sustain with that. It will be very difficult to bear cost-wise also, operation maintenance-wise also, skill of ULB-wise also, and subsequently cycling and reuse. When it is decentralized, in many things you can utilize, but the moment this all is channelized to one place, it will be very difficult to utilize, and otherwise you have to put a cell parallel pipeline network pumping other thing to utilize. So keeping all these things, we find that nature-based systems are having a lot of potential, and they will be of immense help in our Swachh Bharat mission and Amrut also. And there is more, I will say, emphasis from our side. We are also now going to work more on it, involve all those agencies, players, they are working so that rich knowledge is gathered and those success stories are documented and disseminated. This presentation made is very amazing, and similar more things like that, whether CSC or other players, they can forward to us so that we can suitably disseminate it to our ULB for their ease in managing wastewater in a sustainable manner. So thank you very much, CSC, for giving me an opportunity. It was a learning moment for me, and it will help us to guide our ULB. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chaurasia ji, and we would continue to support ministry's efforts. You know, we have been one of the Center for Excellence for the ministry, and we are hoping that SPM2 will give us further opportunity. But I would also tell you that CSC has already developed a web-based compendium putting together these case studies. It is called Mount, Menu for Unnetworked Technologies. So my colleagues have put together, there are hundreds of case studies there with India and abroad, and we keep on adding every month on that. So we'll be happy to share with you. We have also developed another compendium, which is web-based. Anybody can access the free resource, and we would like to continue build with ministry to, if ministry finds it useful. But also I wanted to start with the question which is posed to you. Then I'll come to Ashok ji. There's a question to you, Chaurasia ji, that are there any guidelines issued for these kind of technologies to be made mainstream, or reuse of water from these technologies?
We are continuously working. In last in 2020, we have already issued one advisory on on-site and off-site sanitation, And still we are working on another advisory where this life cycle cost based sewage technology we are trying to get, and also we are trying to prepare with help of GIZ in modular fashion that our smaller ULB, they need not to go all along for designing, then they can start just like it is available in any schedule of rate. They can take for 1 MLD, one thing already available for 2 MLD. So on modular basis, they can adopt for project approval process. And once it is approved, of course, before execution, the same contractor will be asked to prepare detailed design, get it approved from department before rolling out on the ground. So such type of work we are doing, and we are very hopeful that very shortly will be coming with that.
Good. So Ashokji, I also want to take this opportunity to know from you that if in case if nature-based solutions and decentralized wastewater treatment is one way, we all agree. How do you think in Namami Gange projects one could see that some of the not only resources but also there is a mandate that people should. It's not either and or. We can't reach out to all the 2,000 urban local bodies because we only have priority towns, which are 97 priority towns. However, remaining 1,900 towns will need sewage treatment. So do you think there will be some, can you throw some light that whether decentralized solutions will be able to?
In Namami Gange, we have tried these decentralized solutions also. If we have a constructed wetland in Bithur, Kanpur, one is a constructed wetland where the water is being pumped in, and then in a very small area, some 60 KLD of water is treated. The other one is on-site kind of constructed wetland where the gravity flow of the Nala itself is used to treat the water. So we have already tried this constructed wetland as a part of a treatment process, and we are aware of it that the big size, one size does not fits in our scheme of things. So it is here going to stay. I mean, once we handle the big towns and the big nalas and all those things, then the small nalas have to be treated through this decentralized treatment technologies. Second one, as you rightly pointed out, that only the 97 Ganga towns we have, we are right now focusing. But now our focus is shifting to the Ganga tributaries also. So all these towns will be now under our focus in Ganga 2, in Namami Gange 2. And we are going to promote FSTP and decentralized technologies to handle the pollution abatement there.
Thank you, Ashokji. I think also I've seen the draft guidelines of SBM. They are also talking about, intercepting from the drain, treating, and also 70% of the city, which will require some kind of decentralized wastewater treatment. That is very inspiring. So a few questions, I'll take it because I know we have just finished the time. So in the 5 minutes, if everybody allows me, there's a question to both the speakers, I believe, because the person who has asked question has not put the name, but both of you are dealing with plants. So there is a question by Mr. A.K. Dikshit. He wants to know that, can you please name the plants which might give higher efficiency to decentralized wastewater treatment unit? Which are the plants, some plant names they're asking. Ravindraji, would you like to mention?
Yes. Okay. I've already responded in the QA box because a similar question was asked by somebody else. Therefore, I didn't respond to this one. There are a number of plants which are there, but like there is one size doesn't suit all, right? So different plants have got different pollutant reduction efficiencies. For example, if X plant can remove chromium, the Y cannot remove the chromium to the same extent. So we need to first of all know what is the pollutant characteristics of the stream. And then depending upon that, we have to make the choice of the plants. Sometimes monoculture, sometimes mixed culture. So
is there a directory of such plants or somewhere that where which plants are available locally?
The people haven't researched on those aspects, excepting I haven't found in literature, but we have done that. And there is one of my publications which clearly illustrates that. I will send you the link and then you can pass it on.
Ellie, would you like to add some name of the plants? Because somebody is really interested on the name of plants which are doing much better than others, maybe for domestic sewage? Maybe you can tell, for example. You have to unmute yourself.
You know, in my farm in Israel, I'm growing aquatic plants for more than 30 years, and I have the hundreds of type of plants from all over the world that we cultivated, and what I understood is that there is not one plant, there is no winner, and plants are playing according to the situation, the condition, etc. Actually, the one plant that can work beautifully in one place and it won't work at all in other places if the conditions are not suiting him, or something wrong there, or if the cultivation is not being done, or the soil is not right, or the gravel is not appropriate. So it's so many other things, and these systems are. It looks simple, but it's not only about the plants. It's about the hydrology. It's about the gravel. It's about additive that you put in. It's about understanding the overall ecological.
Maybe if there is something like this, that the type of plants and area-wise availability, maybe these things can become part of CPHU guidelines and all those things, so that people can do that. That is one idea which I have in mind. But there's one more question people are asking. I know Ravinder Kaurji mentioned about how to dispose of the plants or which are being used. But I didn't see in your presentation, Ellie. So there is a question by Ujala Sinha. How do the hyper accumulator plants are disposed of after the final treatment? Would you like to say something? Because in your presentations, I did not see that.
No, I didn't get into all the details of course, it was a very short time. But yeah, it's a good question. I mean, today what we're doing, some plants can be used for different uses. For example, the taifa. The taifa used to have in the American culture, the North American culture, something like 19 different usages, which the same plant, even eating. But for us, when we harvesting the plants, we're using it mainly for either for biomass or for compost. Okay. And this is all sometimes for animal feed, but this is it's mainly biogas and compost.
And does these plants remove ammonia? To what % removal?
Ammonia can reduce dramatically, and if you do it in the right way. Yeah. And the
percentage removal figure.
Taifa, for example, is very good plants for ammonia and the nutrients and in the right conditions. Yeah, for example.
Okay. So now there's a question, Ravinder Kaurji, to you. Gaurav Kapse has given a question. What is the difference between canna plants usually used in wetland systems and the plant species used in Jalapja technology?
Yeah, I have answered this question. See, canna plant is an ornamental plant. It is an emergent macrophyte, but every plant, every living system has a life cycle. Now, once its living system is over, it's a low fiber plant, right? So once it's living, the life cycle is over, it normally has to be removed from the system. It's not a perennial kind of a, so you can say it is kind of a perennial, next stem will come out. But this is, there is no economic value, what I want to say. Supposing it is an ornamental plant, it's very beautiful when it is there. But if you, when it dies, you have to throw it away somewhere. So that becomes a disposal problem where the wastewaters are having metals in them. Wastewaters are having some emerging contaminants. Then the disposal problem will be there. Then you cannot transform into biomass or manure or something of that kind, as Ellie was stating. In contrast to them, therefore, when we make a choice of the plant, I personally don't like the aquatic plants for that, because they are just the polishers. They don't treat the entire water column. They only treat a thin film of the water column as far as their roots can reach, right? And moreover, they complete their life cycle in the water body itself. So when they die, instead of decreasing the organic load, they tend to increase the load. So the pollutants go back to the system from where they were removed. So that is a difference between the conventional, nature-based technologies and ours. Besides, many other, differences are there. So we basically harbinge on the try to make use of the economically important plants, which to which some business models can be integrated.
Thank you.
So
that's
that's
very
the
good.
thing.
So, Ali, can I ask, take one question for you? Prashant has asked this question that can the nature-based plants where you have worked, or the technology, can it handle sudden increase in pollutant like COD? How it can be managed?
Actually, and I answer this one and also answer to what the former one. Our system is completely sustainable in a way that we build it once and it's just working. We are not dealing with the plants, taking it out. Maybe in the first year, we just kind of to adjust things here and there, but later on, we let the system live by itself. And plants, they live and die, and they stay on the land, and new one come out. And this is the way nature works. And we just need to make the incubation the right way. And this is the only way to make it sustainable. But about the type of contaminant that we treat, our system actually, I'm not just showing off everything. We show reduction, COD of course. We show, for example, in L'Oreal, we reduce COD from 19,000 to 20,000 down to 300. And we have done work on a sugarcane where we started with 250,000 COD and we reduced it to 10,000 and more. So a reduction of COD is obvious, but we're talking about many others like heavy metals, radioactive elements, everything that can be treated, but it's not only the plant, it's also the entire system. This is what we have to keep in mind.
Thank you, Ali. This is the last question, I think, to both. I will pose this again. A very interesting question. Conventional sewage treatment plants have an issue of sludge generation and all those. So the question is by Harsha Sri Harsha. When compared to conventional systems, in the natural systems, is there something like sludge generation which happens?
Say it again. No, say it again.
Okay, I'll read the exact question. What is the quantity of sludge generation, sludge quantity in this system when compared to conventional system, and efficiency of the system to remove nitrogen and phosphorus? This is the full question. So, is there a sludge generation in nature plants?
Go ahead, Ravinder. Start.
Please go ahead, Ali, if you want to answer.
Okay, I'll say that. Yeah, well, we don't have any sludge. The sludge is a man-made thing that we create sludge by adding flocculants. We don't do that. We just whatever we can separate by gravitation, we do. We don't have any sludge as a problem in our systems, and of course we treat the nitrogens and other things in the system. Yeah.
Ravinder, you want to add because this is the last question and answer?
Yes, as I told during my presentation also, it is a zero sludge based system. Now, all that sludge which you get is only from the wastewater collection tank which you have. Which we are not considering as a part of the treatment component. Okay. We are assuming that the wastewater cell will already be there. Then only you can treat any water. Second is nitrate reduction efficiency. Perhaps that was the second name of the question. That nitrogen also nitrogen and phosphorus. See, the range is between 30 to 60, 65% as of now, right? But we are continuing with our R&D nowadays in the new plan. We have already started the investigations how to improve the nitrate phosphate reduction potential besides the salinity reduction potential of the systems without the use of, say, the membrane or the other technologies. But as of now, if you talk about salinity reduction, we have been able to successfully increase it from 10 to 15% to maximum 25%, and nitrate phosphate up to 60-65%. But there are events when it goes, and there are designs. Many of my designs where phosphate even goes up to 70, 75, 80. So it depends upon the design.
Thank you, Ravinderji. Thank you, Ravinder. I think today's, both the presentation, I found it interesting, and also I think this initiative of CSC Namami Gange, it is a very important area of work is decentralized wastewater treatment. And I think, Ashokji, what I learned was many of these systems have been working more than a decade now. There is no more evidence required because they are not blacklisted or regulatory conditions have been met, everything. So I think we should make some way, find a way to, mainstream this into the thing. And I know that, you have to evolve a different systems to give opportunity to them, because you can't compare apple with oranges. Because I'm not saying that, conventional treatment is good or nature-based treatment is bad, but we are not able to reach out to all the 2,000 ULBs with just same conventional approach. So till the time we have resources, I think we should have, and these systems have proven that, to work some places. I think we would be happy to work with Namami Gange further and CPHU to see that some of these systems should be given flexibility to become a mainstream idea, because both the speakers have said that they have approached government, they were promised, but somehow they have to see these become the light of the day. I think that is one thing I wanted to say. Other thing, wanted to thank you, Ashokji, for sparing time. I saw that you have sat through it all 1.5 hours, and I hope as a part of this fifth webinar, which we had committed, all the 5 topics which this year commitment is there, we have put together eminent people, and I hope this will be an enriching experience for Namami Gange. I would like to thank all the participants who have joined from different parts of the world. Some questions I have not been able to take, but we promise that if you can put it in writing, we will pass it on to the speakers and they will respond to them. And we would ensure that we will also put the recording of this webinar available, because some people asked for a recording. We will also make the recording in public. There is also live. Yes, Ashokji.
Yeah, just sorry. I mean, I thought you were just closing it. So I just I would just want to make clear that on the technology side, we are technology neutral. We say that life cycle cost of any process. First of all, we don't use the word technology nowadays. We have shifted to the process. So we say that life cycle cost of the process or the adopted, whichever is minimum, we will go for it. So now comes that this natural nature-based technologies or nature-based processes. So there actually if we can handle this area constraint or the area requirement, because compared to in urban areas, what happens, the area is also a very important resource. So if our proposed nature-based technology, if they can reduce the footprint, they can anytime they can compete with the other processes and other technology. So I just want to make it clear that
but dono technologies have been implemented in metro cities, like IRI is in the city heart, Delhi, where they are doing this and people are not finding any issue with the land. Similarly, Hyderabad and the golf course, wherever it works, we should say that it should be done. Wherever there is a land is a constraint, then go for an electromechanical system.
True. So what I request from the IRAI, this is also, I mean, see, you have to basically also do some sort of marketing for your product also. So we can have a meeting with the IRAI and we can take this technology and we can implement it in many places and see that how easy it is to adopt and how easy it is to run. If it is we want to basically showcase these kind of innovations.
For example, Ashokji, I can tell you that CSC is located like in the very congested area in South Delhi. Also in remote area, we have a training center. We treat our own sewage on the campus and we reuse it. And it is part of the landscape and the design. So there is no question of land constraint, because we have recently done a study where we found Delhi has 16,000 parks. If 2 to 3% of the park area can be used for treating. So similarly, every big city in UP and other places, there are open spaces where we can allow these systems to come up. They can meet the greening requirement of the cities. That's what I was saying. So
well taken. Point is well taken. We can have some more discussion and some more exchange of ideas on it.
And certainly, I'm not saying that conflict with conventional or I'm not for that. I'm just saying there are so many opportunities within the city that we could allow these systems to also come up. Even Swachh Bharat Mission, Chaureshya ji was saying that it is proposed that only 30% of the city will be sewered in the coming 5 to 10 years. Then what will happen with the remaining 70%? That's all is my concern. So because city wide, agar humko sanitation ya pollution control karna hai, so these are the only options available.
Right.
So I think with that, I would like to end formally and close the webinar. Ashokji, thank you very much. Ravindra Kaurji, thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so
thanks
much.
for joining.
Thank you, Suresh.
And thanks to NMCG team, Jyoti, Madhavji, and thanks to my team, Sumita, and all other people, Jyoti, who have put together this webinar. We had around 400 people, 375 I saw at one point of time. We were live streaming. We will share the statistics, and as usually, I think a couple of thousand people were viewing. I thank all of them for joining this event. And namaste, good evening, and good night, and have a nice day.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Amita, we can close it. Thank you very much, Ashok.